want you to be able to ask questions if you have any. All right, good. So let's begin by kind of going through what we studied and what we learned last 2 weeks. We tried to explore the concept of food security. We explained what food security is and what food security is not. And also we explained the challenges of food insecurity and how it has become a very difficult situation in Canada because of this population explosion. Before some of you came in, we had just discussed that Canada population grew by 1 million, over 1 million, just last year alone. And 1 million is not a small number. And then next year, this year, we're looking at that kind of number again. Yeah, so with this kind of growth comes a lot of pressure on infrastructure and social services, which includes things like food security. So this is where your organization comes in, and it is a timely project you guys are embarking upon. And I encourage you people to do whatever you can to get it running and get it working efficiently. So today, we're going to be looking at some of the action plans, practical steps that you need to take as you embark on establishing this. And one of those action steps we've just briefly talked, deals with the funding, which is a very important part. So just to help you so you don't keep running around looking all throughout the website. So if you guys could just focus on Grant Connect, you will have updated information of the available funding from both private foundations, corporate, including banks and organizations and companies, government, provincial, municipal, they're all in that database. So if you pay for it and have access to it, you won't be looking for where to get funding or where to write proposals. You can also get funding from other businesses within the community by creating personal partnerships and discussing with some local organizations and local business owners. They might be interested in your project and they would support and fund you. Yeah, it doesn't come very easily, but persistence. And if you show the evidence of what you're doing, you would have the success you're looking for. All right. So, and today we are going to look at some of the steps that I think you people should take at the moment. These are practical steps that you should take to ensure that you start on the right step. Okay. So I had drafted some important document which I might advance to you people so you can use it and create yours. These are policy documents, very important. So we are going to teach you today how to design, implement, and operate a food security system. So this part of our document, I created all of these documents. So we're going to be looking at food security policy and also food policy. We're going to look at operational standards. We're going to look at food sources and networks. And we're going to look at food storage and preservation. understanding best before dates and also expiry dates, the importance of partnerships, volunteer management, optimizing your operations, and also we're going to summarize and discuss action plans. All right. So, but before we look at the initial policy that you need to draft, it's important that you understand the components of your operation. First, you must understand the importance of food safety. You may not need to have a food safety certificate, which obviously is not required to run food security program. But if you want to do that, you can. You can get food safety. We have that certificate, which was part of the training we went through with another organization called Second Harvest, which I will introduce you guys to if you have not heard about it before. Yeah, they kind of run programs like this over and over again throughout the year. So it's just a policy document that you need to develop and print it out, just the way I did this. And it shows what your operational standards are with respect to food safety. And also it talks about how you are focused on culturally appropriate food. So it's just a way of showing yourselves, your volunteers, and whoever cares, this is what we stand for with respect to our operation. So we ensure we have food safety procedures or protocols in place. We deal with culturally appropriate food. We provide food access to everyone as part of what we are here for. We want people to have access to food. And our community is involved in our activities. So this is operational standards, or call them policy. And this should form part of your document, which you can edit this and print it out, put it in your document or folder. So I can give you this, so you would rework it so it will suit your own organization. So part of your operational policy also involves volunteer management. So it deals with how you train your volunteers and manage them. Then we have data collection. Do you have people registering? Like we have people who register. So we collect only publicly available data to avoid the liabilities of data breach. That means we don't collect people's date of birth or their social insurance number. We don't. We only collect name, email, and phone number. And these are information that are available on public domain. So we don't have to spend a lot of money on cybersecurity and all this and all that. Some do have all this information, but you have to work hard to protect them from being breached. So we don't have resources to do that. So we only collect name, email, and phone number. You can also collect city and then where the person is coming from. Some basic information is enough. So we do this for statistic purposes, to show people how many people we serve, and that is all. So we also talk about transparency and accountability, environmental sustainability. Some of these are going to be part of your operational policy. There are about 8 important points here. Then the next one is the food security program policy. Why am I starting this food security program? Why? What do we hope to achieve? In that case, you write your mission statement. It could look like ours, which is providing nutritious and culturally appropriate food to individuals and families experiencing food insecurity across Canada. Then you have a policy statement on it. What's your policy statement? To access food or healthy and culturally appropriate food, because it's a fundamental human right. And we are committed to addressing food insecurity through advocacy, education, and direct service provision, which is exactly what we do. What are our principles? Our principles are food sovereignty. Communities have the right to determine their food systems and access culturally appropriate food that is produced and distributed equitably and sustainably. So part of the food policy also deals with dignity. All individuals have the right to access nutritious, culturally appropriate food in a dignified, respectful manner without stigma and discrimination. Collaboration. Addressing food insecurity requires collaboration between individuals, community, governments, and other organizations, which may include donors. So what actions are we taking? We're not just sharing food, we also take actions. We do advocacy work, which means we advocate for food policy changes. We also promote access to nutritious and culturally appropriate food. We also provide education, training individuals and communities on healthy eating food, preparation, and food security. We have direct service provision. We will provide direct service to individuals and families experiencing food insecurity through food hampers, meal programs, and other food assistance. So in conclusion, you can put the name of your organization, is committed to addressing food insecurity in Canada through a multifaceted approach that includes advocacy, education, and direct service provision. We believe access to healthy and culturally appropriate food is a fundamental human right. Therefore, we are committed to working with others to achieve our goal or achieve our shared goal of food insecurity. Yeah, so this forms your second document, policy document called Food Security Policy. The other one is called Operational Policy. All right, so now we look at food itself. This is the third policy document you need. People don't have this. I'm not saying this is what everyone who is involved in food does, but I'm telling you what professionals do, what should be done. This is what is going to separate you from just anyone else just running around running a program. These documents are very important. You keep them and you can print them out, make them bold. If you have an office, you paste them there. People can see that. So food policy, this is what you guys can also adapt this template and use it. You can put stuff like at our organization, you put your organization name. We are committed to addressing food insecurity in Canada by promoting access to healthy, nutritious, and culturally appropriate food for Canadians. Our food policy is our commitment to ensuring everyone can access food they need to lead healthy, active lives. So you deal with number one, promote access to healthy food, increase food security, reduce food waste, support local food production, ensure food safety, and our principles. And the principles that guide our food policy is health. We believe everyone has right to healthy food. Equity, we believe that everyone, regardless of their income, location, or background, should have access to food they need to lead healthy, active life. Sustainability, food systems should be sustainable and support local farmers and communities. So these are some of the stuff we do. Collaboration, we believe in working collaboratively with partners to achieve our goals. Accountability, we are committed to transparency and accountability in our food-related activities. What are our strategies? We support local food banks and pantries. Yes. So we are not food banks, and I don't expect to become one. So you guys are not food banks. You're literally working on a broader spectrum without all the food bank restrictions. So promote local food production. So you can actually get engaged in farming or gardening, and there's a lot of money on that. There are a lot of government funds for local community gardening. So you can run that local production of food, educate and train on healthy eating. It's workshops you can carry out to teach on healthy eating, the importance of healthy meals, support community gardens, like I said, reduce food waste. There's a lot of money on this. Actually, there are companies that will pay you to come and carry their excess food or near to expire food or best before food, before that food. Yeah. There's an organization here in BC we work with. That's how they make money. That's actually purely their business. They connect with these companies, and the companies pay them for them to send not-for-profit like us to go and carry out those foods. So we carry the food, they get paid. Yeah. So also conduct research. We have some data we use to show how many people that come to our food programming and how it's important that you do not look at them as just an individual. Because when we did that survey, we found out that each person that shows up in our food programming days, our food distribution days, they actually have like 5, 6 in their family. Yeah. So that's why we came up with the rough estimate of over 12,000 people that we take care of every month. Yeah. So if you have such a data, it's really powerful. And this data was called for by Ministry of Agriculture. They asked us to do that. So we did that and sent it out to them. They were really very impressed. Yeah. So, of course, you have all this as your food policy. So let's look at food sources. How do you get your food? The food that the community needs. There are local food banks. I will encourage you to contact some of the local food banks within Ontario. They may have excess food that you can have, you may have the opportunity to collect those excess food from them. Here in BC, our own local food bank here in Surrey, we've tried to collaborate with them. We're still trying. Hopefully we'll get through. But we work with another food bank in another city, and they have been such a wonderful partner. We've been working together for the past almost getting to 2.5 years right now, and we've enjoyed the partnership. We actually pick truckloads of food every week, sometimes twice a week, sometimes 2 times a month, but we share food. Sometimes we give them. If I have excess food, I donate to them, but they're actually the ones that give us so much. So we work very well with them. So you can get food support from local food banks. Now, food rescue organizations, very important. Have you guys heard about the Second Harvest? Now, Tony, have you heard about the organization called Second Harvest?
Yeah, I have heard about it. I don't know much about them, but I have heard about it.
Okay. Remind me, once we finish, I will explain more about them and how you guys can get started with them.
Okay, sounds good.
They're a really federal, in fact, the biggest food rescue organization in Canada, and they have millions of dollars, donated to them by federal government and by Walmart and RBC and some other donors. They just became very powerful over the past 3 years. And they are in Ontario. They just moved to a bigger warehouse, a bigger complex. I would suggest you go there personally and strike a deal with them. They have access to truckloads of food. And if you partner with them, you might get all the food you need from them. Very important. They also have app with which they support other charities and not-for-profit across Canada. So we work with their app to rescue some food here in BC. But for you guys in Ontario, you can actually use their app and as well as go there and pick food from their warehouse. They have a lot of warehouse. They have a large warehouse. Okay, so we have farmers markets. There are some farmers market around. You might locate them, Google some of this market. You will meet some of the farmers and you would realize that they would want you to come and take some of their excess food. So instead of throwing it away, they want you to come and pick them. So these are another area you can get a lot of food. Then there are community gardens. Just Google community gardens within Mississauga or wherever you live or anywhere in Ontario, and you're going to find a lot of them. Contact them. Hey, do you have excess food or food you want to try away or you want to, garbage? We can come and look at them and pick them. Great. So we have wholesalers. We deal with a lot of these people. They have food, they clear them off. They want somebody to pick them. Last December, a warehouse actually called us. They had a truckload of good quality food. They were just clearing off their warehouse. So they called us and said, we have this truckload of food. Do you guys have a space for them? We want to drive it, bring it to you guys. And I said, sure. So they drove a truckload of food, all sorts of food, good quality food. Some of them are still good till next 2 years, but they were just cleaning up their warehouse during that Christmas period. So there are a lot of companies like this. You can call them, you can actually contact them and say, hey, we're into food security. Do you have any food that is near expiry or best before, but it's still good? We want to pick them up. They will. So we also have donors that will come and donate food items. Once they know that you guys are doing good, they will call you and want to donate food. You can actually contact them and they will donate food to you. So don't forget this, like I said, you have local food banks, contact them. They might share some of the excess food with you. Food rescue organizations like Second Harvest, they're very huge. Their head office is in Mississauga, yes. Mississauga, I think so, yeah. So they're very huge. You can get to them directly, talk with them. We've been working with them for the past 3 years. Farmers market, that's where you find some of the local farmers. There are some of their vegetables that they can't sell. They will give them to you. Community gardens, there are a lot of community gardens. These are called city farmers. They have hydroponic gardening and they grow a lot of vegetables. We have a lot of them around us here. But we usually don't have time to pick some of their leftover vegetables. So like we have food wholesalers, you contact these people, they will be so happy, especially in Ontario with all those factories. You have more food than you even need. You contact some of these food manufacturers and producers and wholesalers, they will be more than happy to give you the food they usually throw away, and they pay money to throw those food away. They pay the people that will throw them away. So imagine saving that money from them. Of course, donations from other people. Okay, so let's also look at the Canadian food networks. These are some other areas that you need to get involved with some national network of people who are involved in food security. One is Food Secure Canada. We're part of this. They have, it's actually an advocacy organization. So we work with them closely. Then we have community food centers. We work closely with this. They are all around Canada. There are about 350 of us all across Canada, and they accept new people twice a year. So you may just Google them, Community Food Centers Canada, and be a part of them. We had a conference in Toronto last September. It was a huge one in downtown Toronto. I was there. I was one of the panelists. Then there's the Stop Community Food Center. It's also based in Toronto, providing food access, community kitchens, and community gardening programs. So we have Coalition for Healthy School Food. We can actually get some money and a lot of support from this particular organization. Then we have Meal Exchange, which is a national organization engaging in educating youth to address food insecurity and promote food sovereignty. So this one is for people who live in the Northern Territories. You can actually get involved with this because Ontario has a Northern it's a region. The government spends a lot of money on food security for people who live in Northern Territories, northern part of Canada. Yeah, and any organization that wants to support that initiative will get a lot of funding. Yeah. So we have Community Food and Agriculture Coalition. Is another organization. We want to build sustainable, equitable food system in Victoria, here in BC. We also have Canada's National Zero Waste Council. This is the major movement taking place all over the world right now. It's about zero waste. You can get in touch and join this organization. All right, so let's look at some of the food rescue organizations. I did mention Second Harvest. Of course, Second Harvest is the largest all across Canada, very huge. They have an app. Once you sign up with them, the app will tell you when there is a food to pick up within your vicinity, around 40 kilometers. So you choose that, you select it, and you claim it. And then they'll give you all the details you need to pick up that food. So I have an organization that I consult with in Etobicoke. So I set them up with this, and they are doing amazingly very well with this organization, picking a lot of food. Some of them, they can't even carry huge truckloads of food. But for you guys, you can actually sign up directly, with your information, you are good to go. Then we have foodrescue.ca. It's a platform that connects food businesses with local charities and not-for-profit. So we have the Gleaning Network. It's also a network of volunteers and farmers that harvest surplus produce from farms and gardens and distribute it to local food bank and other community organizations. So connect with this, and you have so much food you can't even carry all of them. We have Quest Food Exchange, which is a local not-for-profit organization also. They rescue surplus food from grocery stores and food businesses and redistribute it to low-income families and individuals here in Vancouver. There is equivalent of that in Ontario too. There's City Harvest, which is equivalent of this. So City Harvest, they rescue food, surplus food from restaurants and other food businesses in Toronto and distribute it to community organizations. So you get in touch with City Harvest. They will have Food for Life. It's a food rescue organization that collects surplus food from grocery and stores and farmers and then they distribute it to people in need. Yeah, they're in Toronto. Yeah. So we have this one in Ottawa. It's Garden Hidden Harvest Ottawa. They also rescue food from urban fruit trees and local sources, and they distribute it to local food banks. So if you contact them, they will be more than happy to ask you to come and carry those food instead of them driving it looking for food bank to donate them. All right. So any questions so far before we proceed again? I know it's kind of a lot of information right now with all these names, and you'll be wondering how we're going to get in touch with them. But that's the practical part of this workshop. Like I said, this training will be in two parts. The first part, we look at the theoretical perspective, the concept, so you can understand the need and the statistics. And then this is the second part. And the final part of the workshop, it deals with practical, actionable details and information. So now we're talking about real names, real organizations, real documents, real policies. This is where the rubber meets the road. And when you take these steps, then you have a formidable food rescue program that will stand the test of time. And people will be wondering how you guys got to where you are so quick and so fast. All right, go ahead, Anthony.
Thanks, Dr. Godwin. I was just wondering, will we get a list, this list that you have here on the screen, will we get a copy of this?
Yeah, I'll send you guys the copy.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Just for your personal use. Yeah, great. Okay. So let's move on. So now we want to discuss the issue of best before date. When you see best before date, what comes to your mind? Let's ask some of you who are here online. When you see in a particular product, you see best before date, what comes to your mind? So I have a cashew nut product here. You can see that. Now, this cashew nut has best before date of March 2023, March 13th. I don't know if you see that. I don't think you see. Yep, you can see that. Yeah. You see, I still got the cashew nut here. Yeah. So when you see best before date, and that's what you see most products, it's only in pharmaceuticals that you have things like expiry date. And there's difference between expiry date and best before date. So when you see a product with best before date, what comes to your mind? Anybody?
My understanding is that best before is more of a legal thing. You can't sue them if you get sick if you have it after that, or it's like a recommendation for it's freshness, most fresh, but not necessarily it'll get you sick.
Yeah. The cosmetic value, sometimes the non-essential component of the item goes through depreciation, not expiration, color change, maybe test changes, maybe a lot of loss of freshness. So, like Jeffrey said, it's just a way organizations are forced, or probably deliberately, want to tell their consumers or customers, this is what we think If this product goes before this date, it might not be as fresh as you may like it. It might not be as tasty as you may like it. We're just informing you right now. You know? So that's what best before date is. It doesn't mean the product is bad. It doesn't mean the product will kill you, or it doesn't mean it's going to cause you sick. No, it's all about optimum freshness, optimum deliverability of the expected benefits. So if there is any sign that at this particular time, this product will not deliver the optimum satisfaction, optimum taste, or optimum nutrition, they will put that best before them. So it goes through a lot of scientific testing to arrive at best before them. But there's no Lego in Canada. From what I've read, there's absolutely no Lego liability for a consumer, to take best before date, a product that has passed best before date, as long as that product is delivered free. But there could be a legal requirement or a legal claim or liability if a grocery store sells a product that has passed best before date at the same price that they could have sold it before it reached the best before date. No, it's now for consumer protection, not for health protection, in the sense that you cannot sell a product to a customer at a price that it should have been sold to him when the product was 100% fresh. So that's the only, let's use the word caveat with that. There are some organizations that are built on marking down products that have reached best before that. They mark them down 50% off, 60%, and sell them. They have apps. You can actually get into some of those companies. That's their business model. So when you get into a food security program, you will be collecting a lot of food that are near best before date or have passed best before date. As long as you don't sell it, you just give it on anybody, there is no issues. You don't have any problem. Now, it depends on the person who collects the food to decide whether he wants to eat the food or not. So if you look at what we have there, it says best before there's a guide. It's actually a guide to help consumers know how long the food product will stay at its best quality. We're looking at best quality. We're not looking at whether it is good or bad. They are generally used on non-perishable or shelf-stable food products. After the best before date, the food may still be safe, but may have lost some quality or nutritional value. You see. So in UK, they are actually trying to reevaluate this concept of best before date in order to avoid food waste. They realize that producers, manufacturers will put best before dates in order to push out their products, realizing that in maybe 6 months or 1 year, the grocery stores will be forced to come back and buy more, whether they sold the ones they bought or not. So it works well for the manufacturer and the producer because they can gauge, oh, this product has only 1 year best before that. After that 1 year, this grocery store will come back to buy more, whether they sold or not. So how does the grocery store make profit? They will calculate the rate of their sales or the sales rate, and they will decide what will happen at the end of that shelf life or the product shelf life. They have data miners, data analysts. They decide that we have 1,000 of this item, and we can only sell 500 by the end of the best before date. But we need that 1,000 in order to keep our shelves filled up for cosmetic purposes. So what they do is now they will mark up the price of that 500 to cover for the expected loss of the other 500 that they will have to dispose of at the expiry or end of the shelf life. So a product that should have cost $2.50 will now be costing $5 to cover for the 500 that will be discarded and also cover for the profit of the one that was sold and the one that are unsold. And this is not a good thing because the consumers are the ones who pay through their nose. They pay for something that costs less than what is being sold just because of date, best before. So I would like you to see where the food rescue organizations come in.
The doctor, quick question.
Go ahead.
On these best before and expiration dates, is there any legal requirement to display it or to inform anybody in our pro food security program? Is there a legal responsibility for us to inform them of the best before dates having been passed?
Yeah, there is absolutely no, to my own knowledge right now, there is no legal requirement because even in the government of Canada, I think I have also been told that there's absolutely no legal requirement, but we have a policy document that shows how long the product could stay after the best before date, how long it could stay and still be good. And we oftentimes try to educate people on this if they worry about it. But if they don't worry about it, you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
You know, but there is no legal requirement for you to keep, ringing a bell, warning people that, oh, this product is past best before date. No, there is absolutely nothing like that. The only thing I was told, and which I've read, is that you can't offer people product that is rotten, that is smelly, that has just gone bad. And even at that, there is no legal liabilities because the individual who is getting it has senses to literally decide, is this good for me or not? And so you are offering to rescue food. The government of Canada is actually promoting that. Organizations are supporting this initiative of rescuing this food and then redistributing it to families that need them. I'm also aware that local food banks are allowed to take in and redistribute products that are 1 year past best before date.
Wow.
See that?
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, that is it. Okay. So the issue of expiry date, oftentimes, like I say, for products that have quicker shelf life, biodegradable, that can get terribly bad. And these are products that you have to discard them as quickly as possible. Or if people think they can handle it, fine. For example, milk, dairy product. Milk, if they are refrigerated, if they are frozen, if they are refrigerated, they can actually be good 3 days after best before date. 3 days, yeah. Some people actually think they are still good if you refrigerate them 7 days after best before that. So it depends on individual. You have to check whether this is good or not. Now, for meat can be frozen for 1 year. If it is frozen, it can last for 1 year. It depends on the consumer. Do you still like it? Do you want it? That's fine. That's left for you. Like we pick like sometimes 100, 150 pounds of meat twice every week. So what we do is immediately we pick them, we freeze them. We pick them. They're already past best before that. Once we bring them, we put them in our freezer. We have this a horizontal freezer, very cheap. You can buy them in Costco like $800. And it's like, it's huge. It's like 40 cubic feet, or can't remember, but it's really big. So we just put them there. It's frozen. And in 2000, when we received a truckload of frozen food from the federal government, the Ministry of Agriculture, some people froze their food. They froze that meat for 1 year. Some of them still have it even 2 years afterwards. Some 3 years, the food is still frozen and it's still good, you know. So when you talk about expiry, you're only looking at if the food is so terrible it can be consumed. And it is the consumer who makes this call. It's the consumer who decides whether this is still good for me or not. For you who works with the food security organization, yours is when the food comes into your hand, if it is something like milk, put it in the fridge before redistributing it within 2 or 3 days. If it is meat, put it in the freezer, freeze it, and then distribute it maybe within 2 or 3 days. Yeah. So that's exactly how almost all the food banks I know operate. The major food bank and food security organizations, they have fridge compartment and they have freezer compartment. So they put the meat in the freezer compartment and they put vegetables and other perishables in the fridge compartment. And then the other items that are canned, like with canned food, they put them in their shelves. So some of these are the infrastructure that you will need. And you don't have to have the big ones, you know, like we never had that. We just had little fridge and freezers. We were using them before we were able to get a 20-feet freezer, which is a walk-in freezer right now. Good. So with food, that's the policy. That's actually the principle. And we let people know that these foods are good. They are of high quality. They are still nutritious. But because of the date, the grocery stores, the warehouses, they have to give them all out just because they are not permitted to sell them to consumers at the same price. Yeah. And of course, they don't want someone coming back to sue them and say, oh, this food is expired, I ate it, and it did it to my stomach. People will do that. And there's no how you can prove that the food was still good, even though the food is still good. Yeah. But such food can be given out free of charge. So this is why a lot of time people have asked us, why not start a farmer's market where you have people pay stipends to collect some of this food? And we said, no, we're giving all our food free of charge. Just to avoid somebody say, oh, I paid for this, I bought it, and now you're doing this to my family. There are just mad people like that. So we don't want it. We give everything free. And because it's free, there's no liability. Because free is not, there's no transaction, there's no force. It is the consumer who will have to decide whether he wants it or what or not. Okay. So I'm going to send you guys a video on this, and also there's a document on this, which you can read through. And I mean, real peer-reviewed documents, some of them researched by Proof. Proof is University of Toronto U of T research team that research on food security. You get to know about them. Very powerful organization. All right. So like I said before, when you open some item, you can freeze them for 1 year and it still be good. And you always see some items, they say once you open it, put it in fridge. There's a reason for that. It keeps it stable. Also, use your judgment to determine if frozen food is still safe to eat. So consumer will always have to use their judgment. It's not for you. You are just helping. You're making food available for them. It's left for them to decide if they want to take it or not. But I can tell you, majority of the food we pick in large quantities, some of them have passed their best before date. And people take them. In fact, people rush them. And they are still good food because they realize these are wonderful food and it gives them the best experience. And these are costly, some of them very costly food, very costly food. But if you calculate the amount of money that these companies waste, it will blow your mind. All right. So you got to use your senses, rely on your senses to determine if frozen food is still safe to eat. So as you guys get into this world, there will be a lot of open doors, a lot of other opportunities that will open up. There's an organization that we are negotiating with right now in US. They run a very big, massive truckload of items, both food and non-food items. Truckloads. You might just pay a little stipend, maybe transportation, and you may have like 20 pallets of all kinds of stuff from Amazon, from Walmart, and we're talking about real computers, cell phone, smartphone, kitchen utensils, all kinds of stuff. Why? Because Walmart discards pounds and pounds of, we're talking about clothing, and we have received some of those through our partner Food Bank. Every summer, they give up all the spring clothing, they discard them. Every winter, they discard all the summer, autumn clothing. Amazon is also doing that. They were filling up the landfill in France. It became a little problem. And then Amazon started looking for how. Instead of filling up the landfill, we are talking about real people's products. And they found a solution to that using an organization that they ship these truckloads to the warehouses. Warehouses are like thousands of square feet warehouses where they pack these things. And I can tell you as an Amazon seller, when I was selling Amazon UK, I had a lot of my products were unsold. And instead of shipping it back to Canada, which will cost more money, I asked them to discard them. And I've had to do that in Amazon US too, discard them. So Amazon has found a way, instead of discarding those things, to bundle them. And we are talking about when you have over, almost 5 million retailers selling all across Amazon platform, selling almost billions of dollars every year. Now, just to show you the value of what you might be having access to as you develop this opportunity. You can actually start a thrift store. And you're allowed to. It's your social enterprise. You're allowed to resell those items for the organization. So imagine getting 10 laptops. They're already good, working good. Are you going to just give it out for free? No, you're going to sell them. Imagine you're selling them $200, $300. You have like 10 of them. That's $3,000. That's a social enterprise. So don't just look at food, but also be looking at all the opportunities that will open up through this that people don't even see. And do you know how much thrift stores make? These are full-fledged stores who get their items sometimes free of charge. Imagine making money when you're spending little or nothing. All you need is to get a store. Maybe because you're not for profit, you can actually, get the store cheaper. If you have a charity number, you probably have the property tax waived, and then the rent is low. So some of these are the open doors. North America is wealthy. Canada is even wealthier. Yet people are struggling. Yet people are in pain. Now you have access to a little group of people who understand there is a way to connect to this wealth, connect to this, surplus, and use it for your own community and for yourself. All right. So we are almost rounding up now. So the importance of food security partnership. You need to have partners that you're going to work with. And like I said, when I was sending you that proposal for this, I said, this is not just a consultancy. We're trying to help you guys get something going. And there are also other organizations I mentioned, which you need to partner with within Ontario and some outside of Ontario, because it enhances, increases your resources. It will enhance your expertise. You don't need to figure out all of this. Like what I'm sharing with you right now, we had to develop them ourselves, because when we stepped into this, we thought the food bank, regional food bank, will help us, but they did not appreciate our concept. Our concept was something that didn't fit into their restrictive policies. And we didn't want to budge by restricting our people like they are being restricted in the regional food bank. So it was an impasse. We got into that where we said we can't compromise our policy of serving our people without restricting them. People come here, they're hungry, and you're telling them they make a lot of money, therefore they can't get food. Do you know how many people they serve? Do you know how many people they feed? Do you know where these people are coming from? They have brother, uncle, cousin, 5, 6, 7 living with them. Some of them have 20 people depending on them in Africa or in Caribbean or wherever they're immigrating from. And you think that 70,000 a year is big enough. It's not. These people are looking to save money, so we are here to help them. So if you guys won't allow us to be part of the regional food bank and receive support from the government, we will stand alone and we will do what we want to do. So that was how we started. And guess what? Where there is a will, there is a way. So I'm so pleased with you guys stepping up to do this. And that's why we're offering you guys more information than is even required, giving you access to some of these details, taking you by the hand, because I know if you implement this and it works well, it's going to help a lot of people. You're going to serve a lot of families. It will work. You can do this. It's just like I've said, all the information you need, the details, the practical steps, the policies, the documents, the contact, the networks, you have access to them. So partnership helps improve your networking, and networking helps you share, practice, also share policies. You can also share best practices, what to do and how to enhance what you're doing, and also learn more about the opportunities that are available in this space. So it will also increase your reach. You can also create many organizations or stations, or call them local operations, like we do here, where you set up another local organization or local operation or a branch of your organization in different cities in Ontario, especially Mississauga. You can do one in maybe North York. You can get one going in Scarborough. You can get one going in Etobicoke. You can get another one going in Jenna Finch. You can get some going in downtown. You can look at where some of we have a lot of our Black communities. You can set one up there and appoint somebody who would come in and pick food and share with the families there. Now, that's exactly what we're doing right now. Just trying to reach more and more people, more and more families, and it's blessing a lot of people, blessing a lot of families. So that networking, creating them, very wonderful. Increase your outreach, increase your impact. Don't see this as a job. Don't see this the way other people run their not-for-profit. Because I think you guys are passionate, and let that passion drive you. So what is in it for me? No, the reward will come, and it will come in more ways than you can fathom, because you are really doing something that touches the life of men and women and children, everybody. So partnership helps with sustainability. You will not just yank off and bulge out and just disappear into oblivion. No, because now you have people who will hold you accountable, people who will call you and email you and say, hey, we have food. Can you come and take it? So with that, how are you going to fold up? Just like us right now, we can't fold up because every week we get an email from here and there. Oh, we have this food available. When are you going to come and pick it? We have this food available. When are you going to come and pick it? So how are we going to fold up when you have all of these networks and all of these contacts who are now regularly in touch with you, letting you know that there's a food to pick up? So this is part of what network does. It keeps you accountable. Okay, so let's look at strategies for volunteer management within the food security organization. First is volunteer coordinator. You must have somebody who coordinates the volunteers, because you need volunteers. Right now, you don't need any staff. I said it before, you don't need staff to run an organization. You don't need that. You can run this based on volunteers until you have enough money to pay somebody. That is our unique challenge as Black-led organization. It's part of the consultancy that I teach, how to run an organization on a string budget. I teach this. Yes. And people think, oh, you need all this funding here and there. It doesn't happen magically. What happens in the first, second, third year of the organization is very important. We teach how to make that work and appear as if you are a multi-million-dollar organization, even when you don't even have $8,000 in your bank account. So there's a way you run that. That was how we started. So don't ever say, oh, we don't have all the money. No. When you have the passion and the will, you can do great things. People will be wondering, how long have you been in operation? It might just be, look, when we got our first van, we were not up to a year in operation. Not up to a year. But we set up things in a way that really showed that we are not joking around. So when we wanted a fairly used truck, the guy from Ottawa said, no, we can only buy brand new trucks. Say, I don't need a brand new truck. I don't even need a big one. They say, but that's all we can give. So what do I have to do? I have to go back. I have to redo the budget. I have to redo everything. And it took a lot of time and effort. But I looked at the stress of going through that and going through audits and asking for more fund and more money to get something that I thought I didn't need then. But I had to go through that. Guess what? What would I have done without getting that truck? What would I have done without pursuing the second big truck? All of this happened even before we were up to 2 years. So what I'm telling you is this: if you have the will and the passion, and you create the necessary optics, and have the structure in place, and you're not joking around, and you're not there with your hand begging money here and there. No, but you're really showing and pushing out all the stuff you're doing. Let people see what you're doing. Let people see your impact. Have all the letter of support you can get. Look, in next 2 years, it will blow your mind of what you guys can accomplish together. So volunteers they have to be trained, just telling them what to do and how to do them. They come with a whole lot of headache, but with time they will get into the system and understand what you're doing. That's why you have all those operational policy and food policy and all sorts of other policies. You need them. Then recognize the volunteers, appreciate them. Every year we usually give them cards and give them special kind of food. And within the year we preserve some special food for them, especially expensive food, expensive items. We give them just to let them know that we appreciate their efforts. And we allow all kinds of people to volunteer. Elderly people, Muslims, Sikh, heathen, all kinds of people, young people, youth people. We just allow everyone to come in and volunteer because we are very open. So they serve their own people, and people will come there who speak Farsi or Arabic. There is always a volunteer who understands that person and deals and handles that person. So when you're recruiting volunteers, like I said, make it very open because you're serving the community. It's a problem with some maybe religious people like us. You kind of, oh, no, it has to be from my denomination. It has to be from my church. Nonsense is that. What kind of nonsensical thing is that? So how do you reach people? How do you support them? How do you help them? You know how many Muslims we serve? Yet we are located in a church environment. You know how many Sikh people we serve? You know how many of these Muslims that come right inside the church? Yep, and ask for help, ask for prayers. You know how many of these Muslims that come with their kids and stay for parent support program and other programs we serve? 80%, 90%. Sikh people, there's a religion called Sikh, in India, everywhere around us. How many drug addicts we serve, we help, single mothers, all kinds of people, elderly people, white, red, blue, green, yellow, everybody. Yes, we are Black-led. So I would like you to have that at the back of your mind, that you cannot restrict yourself. Yes, we want to support the Black people, but there are other people also who have needs. So open up and then support them. They are human beings. We serve natives. We actually have partnership with the biggest First Nation organization here in BC. We serve them. So that opens a lot of doors for you. So volunteer retention, there has to be strategies of ensuring you have more. Once you start this program, you will have more people volunteering than you even need. So your job is to manage them and let them have roles, what to expect, clear expectations, making sure that they respect their differences In our setup, some of our Black people will come and they don't like some of these other people. They think that they are trying to encroach into their territory. Yeah. So, but because we've been working with diversities of people all our lives, it was easier for us. It's still easier for us to work with white people, Indian, Southeast Asian, Chinese, Filipinos. We work with all kinds of people. But some of our Black people find it very difficult. So they actually do the work of trying to, chase these people away because, oh, don't come to our territory. This is our own thing now. So we always step in and say, no, don't do that. So, but we still have a lot of our people, they insist, come down, don't touch this, do this. Is it because you're a volunteer? Don't do. So we are the ones who are usually telling our people, calm down, leave these people, let them do their work. But I also don't blame our people because they go around the city. There is no other Black-led organization doing what we're doing. And they don't have any opportunity to access some of those support services from those other organizations. So they come here and they say, oh, this is our own. We are not going to allow you people to enjoy our own. So we just said, no, you can't treat them the way they treated you. These people here are not the ones that treated you badly. So we are here to share with everyone, to show them how accommodating we are. That even though we are discriminated against, we do not retaliate with discrimination. We love everybody. So we're sharing some of these hidden policies because you are going to encounter them and you have to make the right call. Okay, so you got to develop volunteer policy, just short policies. So we expect this from our volunteers. These are their responsibilities, their rights. And then we have code of conduct. We talk about this. I do this like once in a while. Don't do this, don't disrespect anybody, don't curse anybody, don't use foul languages. If there are conflicts, we try to settle them. So you will be dealing with this as you move on in this zone. So this is a draft of volunteer policy. You follow all this. How do you recruit volunteers? How do you screen them? What determines your choice of a volunteer? For us, we look at people from the different ethnicities and diversities. We also look at age group and gender. We are trying to have everyone be a part of volunteer, representing different ethnicities, different age groups, and different categories of people. So we have youth, we have children, we have even single mothers, we have single fathers, we have veterans, we have Muslims, Christians, we have all kinds of people, and they are very happy working together right now. So you place these volunteers where their skills are needed, especially. We have people who bring out the food, who tie the bread, who distribute the food, who offload the food, the men. We have people doing all of this. And then we have recognition. Every year we try to recognize them. Within the year, we do a lot of free gift. If we have special gift items, we reserve it for them. So there's code of conduct, which is important. You develop this code of conduct. I talk to them personally. Once in a while, I call them for a meeting and I talk to them. So we have volunteer safety, make sure that they are protected, make sure that nobody wounds him or herself. Then we have, if there's a grievance or complaint, how do you deal with it? How do you try to fix it? So value your volunteers, manage them, make sure they have positive experience. Very important. All right. So how do you optimize your food security operations? Because as you grow, you're not going to be there every day. You must make sure things are in place to work very well. Just like Jonathan said, when he came, I wasn't there because I have other engagements, but my wife was there, and then we still have things work because we've reached a point where The volunteers actually know what to do. They just need someone that will coordinate them. Things will move on. So you must set up standard procedures, what to do, how to do them. They should all know this. Utilize technology when necessary, partner with other organizations, train the volunteers. When we started, it was tough, but we kept on reiterating the same thing: do this, don't do this. It was like they were not listening. It was like they were not paying attention. But with time, they are beginning to listen, especially when you are bundling up different people from different worldviews, different religion, different ethnicity, different age. It's tough, but we love that kind of mixture. It's good. Monitor the volunteers. Don't think they know what they're doing all the time. Evaluate them, correct them. Also have contingency plans if there is a disaster, a problem, disruption. Engage the community, involve the community. Like I said, when you are in a community, you are there to serve that community. Please don't restrict yourself. Yes, you might have your core groups, mostly Black. This is something you want to do, but don't chase anybody away. That's my own personal suggestion. Engage the community, build a sense of ownership and support for the program. This is very important. There's a point to get to. It's no longer going to be my organization or our organization, like 4 of you. No. Allow the community to own it. So we had to communicate this to our people. We had to continually tell them, if you guys spoil this, we all lose. Let's do this to serve our people. So whenever they make mistakes or they need to be corrected, I always use this word. We are doing this for ourselves. We are serving ourselves. Please do not do anything that will be detrimental to this. You've seen how many people that come here. You've seen that these people need help. So why not we come together and build something that will support ourselves? So I had to drum this into their ears over and over again. And now I think they're all getting used to it. Oh, we are doing this to support ourselves. And not that, oh, they are working for us or they're working for me. No, you are not working for me. You are not. So here is the summary. Food insecurity program, the operation is aimed to ensure everyone can access food. This should be your vision, your goal. If you have to do a sale, it's going to be affordable. But we don't sell for now. The food has to be good, nutritious. And the program comprises several components: the food source, the storage, distribution, community engagement. Then the second part to this food security operations deployment is optimizing the operation, making it work seamlessly. So to do that, you have to have such plans like identifying and addressing gaps in food source. It is one of the first things we did was to find ways to source food. We were very aggressive in our first year and even our second year, aggressively, searching for food. And we succeeded. And once you succeed in establishing the food source or food sources, you can relax because now you have 2 or 3 places you go to and you can pick all the food you need. When we started, we were running like 20 places almost every week, burning gas and spending money, just, trying to create some of these sources, and we did. So you can do that. Establish efficient food storage preservation strategy. This was the second thing we did to find all of the infrastructure we need to preserve and store the food. And we're still working on this. So far, we've reached a level where we can comfortably serve our people without a lot of pressure. Now, distribution. For right now, we have the channels. Our major one is our center, where people come in 3 times a week. Also, we have other centers within the province, a couple of them right now. So implement volunteer management policies. We've already talked about it. Establish partnership with similar organizations. We talked about this. Regular monitoring and evaluation of the program performance. Yes, always tweaking. You improve on this. You might need technology to manage volunteers, like database, but they cost money to maintain. We don't have this, but when we get to a particular point or level, we will have this. So this is the summary of all I have discussed with you. Like I said, this particular meeting is more practical than the first one because we are dealing with real situations, real actionable strategies. And I hope that you've picked up all of this and you will go back and start developing these policies. You would get the template. You can reward some of them and redevelop them, add some stuff, remove some stuff, and make it your own. And that will be the beginning of this great and wonderful venture. And I do hope that this will be bigger than you guys had envisaged. And we'll be so glad to come and celebrate with you people very soon. All right. So thank you. Any questions? Are we all here?
Yeah, definitely here. You've laid quite a bit on the table, and I really appreciate all this information. I think for our group, there's quite a bit to take away and to discuss and sort of figure out how we're going to approach our own initiative. As you mentioned, you will provide us with a lot of these documents. So I think it'll be on us really to, as you said, make it our own and really develop the vision for our organization as well. Although what you've laid out is very, very concise and very well thought out. And so we appreciate this this sort of template you've laid out for us. I think it's definitely going to be a useful document to emulate. So thank you very much, Dr. Goodwin.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Tony. All right. So who else? Any questions or anything you have to say before we round up?
Just wanted to appreciate. Thank you very much. That was such an insightful session. A lot of a take home. A lot of things to ponder on. Not only on the side of what and being part of a big cause, but as well about why we should get into this in the first place. Not just because we want to serve one community, but expanding as well. The reason behind that was actually highly insightful for me. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Jonathan. All right. Jeffrey, are you with us?
No, thank you, Doctor. I really appreciate it. I actually, one question, once we have something drafted up, we'd like to obviously stay in touch with you to, if we have any lingering questions or any ways we can better our own program. I think we can learn a lot from you, and with Coach JB being over there, I know we'd have a great partnership with you going forward. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely. Sure. From here onwards, anytime you need any help, just let us know. We will be more than happy to provide it, to support you guys to get it going. What we've given you is action plan, template, something you can start acting on right now. I mean, I know one of the challenges with most organizations, especially Black-led organizations, is that there's a lot of liturgy, a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of, all this contemplation. I don't want you guys to build like that. Share your responsibilities and get acting, get working immediately. If it is establishing this, you already have the document. Just add your name on it and print it out and put it in a file. That is it. Where do we get food? Beautiful. You already have the resources. I share them with you. You can start getting food by next week. But where do we keep the food? You don't really have to have a warehouse. We never had one. What you need is maybe a room, a fridge, or a freezer. It could be in your basement if you have one. It could even be in your garage if you have one. That's where you start. Where do you share the food? Please, you can actually go to a church and distribute it on the table after church service. You start there. I have somebody who does that right now. That's how we are launching that particular project. He takes for his family and the rest. He goes and he distributes it on the table. And the church is very excited that the members are having food. And then now other community members are coming in. So don't look at this as a very big, humongous, no. And this is the problem. People want something big. No, everything big starts small. And then as you start it, it starts expanding, it starts expanding, it starts expanding.
Yeah, that's very insightful to know that, even though we want to make a big change, I think the perspective of starting small and then letting it be organically grow is a great perspective to have. So really appreciate those very powerful words.
Great. So do it right now. Start it as we just finished this meeting. Forget about the documentation part. You can deal with that, Jeffrey. I'll send you the Word document and also send you this PDF. Just deal with that as your own personal assignment. You deal with that. Hey, Anthony, your job could be, look, we got to contact Second Harvest. They are there in Ontario, in Toronto, in fact. You just call them, visit them, and that is it. Get started, sign up with the app. That is it. Then before you go to the farmer's market, you already have the link, you already have the name, you can find them, and you start getting food. Where do you store the food? Any one of you here has a home? Yeah, use your home. Start from your neighbors. Call some of your family members. I've got a food here. Call some of your network, and then that's how you build stuff. I tell you this, I share this to you guys as a secret, because that's how we've built a lot of stuff from Toronto, London, Ontario, and here. You do not have to wait or look for money or look for support. When you start your music, others will join you. And then you'll have a website already. Move your social media to a high level. Start pumping out optics every week. Pump out images, the food you're bringing in, the snapshot, as people take this food and testimony, just pop it, put them on your website, tweet it out, get Instagram account, get into LinkedIn, push them out. Because when you now start asking for funds, Anthony or Jeffrey or Jonathan, when you start writing proposals, look, that's what the funders are going to be looking for. They don't even care where you are located or where you are. They're just going to type your name, your LinkedIn profile will show up first. Then Facebook will follow, Twitter will follow, and they're looking at your optics. So that's how these things work. That's how it works. Great. So Natalie, are you still here with us?
Yeah, she said she can't unmute, but she's still here with us.
Okay, I see. Great. So
Natalie has a question. She asked if there should be a sign-up sheet on our website.
Yeah. Putting a form on your website is simply very easy. I mean, just put it there. We have one.
Okay.
Yeah, just put a sheet there. Tell your programmer or personal designer it's easy to put the form on your website. People can sign up for the food program or for your website or for anything. Put it there.
Right. I think I like the idea you mentioned about partnering with local churches. I think, within our own personal networks, we can do that. And I think that'll be a great avenue to be able to, start this type of initiative, right? So thank you for that idea.
Great. That's actually where you start. Let me say this. I'm actually a pastor too. I mean,
oh, wow.
So I built one of the biggest youth church in Toronto in 2004, 2005. Yep. And I'm telling you this, I work with mostly Caribbean kids from Scarborough, went to child protection services, went to court just for the youth. That was what my wife and I did that period of time. It was powerful. We then had massive program in Toronto. We've been consulted for some other churches because of the crime going on in Ontario. In Toronto then, people were shooting and killing themselves in Scarborough. So the government released money for churches to step in and help. So my church was big. They didn't care about the money. So we did our own. But the other churches were consulting me to come and help and establish our programming, which we did. Yeah. So later we moved to London, Ontario in 2006, established a very vibrant ministry work there. Went to jail, went to prison, helping people to get out of those jail and those prisons, drug addicts, all kinds of people, 4 years, we built a very powerful work ministry. Then we came to DC, came to Surrey here. Surrey was where I saw wonders. It was horrible, it was terrible. It was in Surrey I had to go to school to do social research because I wanted to do massive things. We wanted to change the landscape. The environment was so terrible. Surrey was a no-go area then. If you live in Surrey, people will think you're a drug addict. They think you are a loser and a beggar. Maybe Jonathan has not moved to Surrey then, but Surrey was, but look at what has happened. So we've been in this center of the city for 12 years right now, literally transforming the environment and the place. So this food programming started through this transformational, social transformational programming that we have. So you can't go looking for housing, looking for a place to start it if you have a church. Yeah. The church will provide you with all the things you need to start this. Because they too will be beneficiaries of this program. And you are not just sharing food, you're going to be doing training, equipping, coaching, mentoring, and we can provide some of these services for your organization. So the question I ask you, are you guys passionate about this? What is your why? Because personally, I can't help anybody who's just trying to run an organization. I don't have the time for that. But if you're passionate about making a change, then you have a partner in us. And there's always a reward, a huge one, intangible and tangible ones. Your life will have a meaning, which money cannot buy. So some people, they don't understand this. There's a point to get to in your life when you hit 50, like some of us are approaching, you look back and ask yourself, what have I lived for? You have money, you have houses, you have everything, but then you'll be asking the question of meaning. What have I lived for? Everybody will think, oh, you are happy because you're making 6 figures, but you are not, because you feel there's something in you, there's something missing, there's emptiness. So I'm sharing this secret with you guys. Plug that hole right now. This is how you plug it, because it will happen. It will. So don't wait for it to happen. Plug it now, so that when you hit 50, you can look back and be happy with yourself. It's at that moment you will enjoy the house, the children, the wife, and all the things you've acquired. It's the secret. And you can't deny it. You can't run away from it. It will happen. But this is an opportunity to plug that hole by getting involved in something that transforms the lives of many. You will be so glad and be so happy that you've done something for humanity, for yourself, for posterity, and for your own future. Okay, so I think we are done for the day. And I would like to thank you all for this opportunity to serve. I also want to thank our team here in Kingdom Arts Foundation for the support they provided, the insight as we prepared this lesson. I think Dr. Blessing is listening in. She's there, helping out too. Thank you, Jeffrey, Coach Jonathan, Jamal, and Natalie. And I wish you guys an amazing experience as you embark on this journey. The next few months, I'd like to hear the exploits you guys are doing. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor. Have a good day. Take care.
Take care.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Dr.